All right, guys, this video is going to be about how you can bodybuild safely and have a long, safe career. However, it's probably not going to contain a lot of the information that you're going to like to hear. But I'm going to be very open. I'm going to be very honest. You guys know me. I've been in this industry 20 years. I've talked to and known just about everybody. I know a lot of people's secrets. I know what a lot of people have done, and I know what a lot of the things that have caused these issues. So I'm going to speak honest. I'm going to speak freely, and hopefully you guys listen to my advice. Now, we've had a lot of deaths in the recent years, and we're not used to seeing that. You know, it's really hitting a nerve with us. It's really striking a chord. It's making us feel a certain way. It's putting a lot of fear in people, and that's good because it's bringing awareness to it. You know, if I were to pass away tragically, I would want people to know what happened and what caused it, and maybe you guys could learn something so that it didn't happen to you. So let's take this as a lesson. Now, if you scroll down and view my video, The Truth, I talked in depth about one of the major things that I think is causing this, and that's just overall muscular body weight. If you were to compare a 285-pound muscular human being to maybe a 285-pound obese person, you could make a strong argument that the muscular person is actually going to die sooner because there's more liability placed. You don't have to feed and fuel fat. You have to feed and fuel muscle, and we're constantly using it to break down and build back up. And our entire system still has to support that. You know, we might be 100 pounds heavier, more muscular, but that doesn't mean our heart, liver, kidneys get stronger, our immune system gets stronger. That doesn't happen. Our digestive tract doesn't get more resilient. It's still the same working parts that we were born with, and we weren't meant to be that big, you know? So if you look at all the people that live the longest, they're small people, they're skinny people. They don't carry around a lot of weight. So we already have a lot of stress and liability on our bodies as it is being big. But I want to talk about one of the major factors that we make decisively and we kind of try to ignore. All of us are impatient, and this stems from, I guess, a little bit of insecurity. A lot of us are in this because of insecurity and because of the addictive endorphins and the dopamine spikes we get when somebody tells us you look great, you're in great shape, and the attention we get from others and how people treat us differently because we're in extreme shape. And it's addictive. It absolutely is. It's an addiction. So we want more, faster. You know, people want to turn pro in 2 years. You know, they want to be a super heavyweight bodybuilder when you're a light heavyweight in 2 years. You know, it takes a long time to do that. And me personally, I've changed my approach to coaching in the last 3 to 4 years, and I can tell you why. Again, I've had access to almost everyone's information, experiences. You think I don't know how to get people really big, really fast? Of course I do. But I refuse to take part in it. I refuse to share that specific information, and I refuse to do it because I will not take away from someone's life, even if it's their own decision. You can find another coach who will take part in that. I just won't do it. Now, I'm going to talk about something that happened to me that nobody knows about. Nobody. Maybe 2 people. Back in 2017, I was prepping for North Americans, and my doses were normal. You know, I wasn't doing anything extreme. However, I started getting foamy piss. Real foamy piss. And what that means is that's kidney stress. Luckily for me, it was acute. You can have acute kidney stress, acute kidney damage, and fully 100% recover if you catch it in time. And luckily, this only happened to me a couple weeks out from the show. So right after the show, I took some time. I healed up. It got better. I ran my blood work late 2017, mid 2018, and my kidney values were perfect. But I'm not going to lie and tell you I wasn't afraid, because I was. So what caused it? If it wasn't the drugs, what caused it? Okay, well, I was training twice a day. I was eating 450 grams of protein a day because my carbohydrates were only 50 grams. I did have some help, but I agreed to it, knowing full well what I was doing. So with the massive protein intake, hit cardio every single day, steady state cardio every single day, and 2 gym sessions on 450 grams of protein, I beat the living piss out of my body. Now throw on top of that, I was using a lot of stimulants because I needed the energy to get through the fucking day on 50 grams of carbs. And I couldn't sleep. So now I'm not sleeping on top of that. So yeah, I beat the living shit out of my kidneys. And then you throw in trend the last few weeks, even though my doses weren't very high, It's stress. It compounds. It added to the equation. So I was fortunate. I was lucky that I got away safely. But all that pounding in that short period of time, now also throwing the sense of urgency with prep. You know you're getting closer to the show. You know we train harder. You know we push harder, and we do whatever we can to win. But my body was not fucking happy, not one bit. And I was not completely dry on stage because of the kidney stress. Now, I looked really good. I took fourth, but I wasn't as dry as I could have been had my kidneys been healthy. I was just peeled, and that's why I was dry, because there was no body fat left. So that's just an experience that I had. And generally, health runs very strong in my family. My grandparents lived to their 90s. My mom's in her mid 60s, and her doctor says your blood work and heart is like a 30-year-old. So I have strong health genetics in that aspect, and it still happened to me. So imagine the people that are predisposed to these things. So you guys have got to be careful, because you don't want to scare. People usually don't take note of their health until bad things happen. And then they get scared, and then they start addressing it. The thing is to not let it get to that point in the first place. Be aware of what you're doing. So wear and tear is a fact of life. You don't cause these issues in one day or 1 week. They are cumulative over time. That's why you see older people, they start having cholesterol problems, they start having hardened arteries, they start having blood pressure problems. It's not because their body all of a sudden isn't good. It's because their body got worn down over time because of what they did throughout life and their genetics and, some other factors. But it makes a difference. So the biggest thing with bodybuilders, like I said, they want it now. Now. They want to be big now. They don't want to be big later. How fast can you get me big? The scale didn't go up this month. That's the wrong mindset if you want to do this long term. Now, actually, somebody responded on my post, and I hope he doesn't take offense to this because it's a positive thing, but Regan Grimes is a prime example. He shot over to another part of the world, that people saw people blowing up in, and they instructed him to take certain things, and he said, no fucking way. I'm not doing this. And they said, go home. He said, okay, I'll go home. And he left. And if you've watched Regan Grimes' career, he never put on 20 pounds in a year. But guess what? He maintained his lines. And he just keeps improving more and more and more quality. And when he reaches his peak, it's going to be a very crisp, prime, full, separated, aesthetic peak. And he's going to be healthy. And he's going to be able to do it for a long time. I once had a client say to me, could you turn me a pro in 2 years? I said, yeah, I could, but you're going to lose 5 years on the back end of your career because your body's going to break down sooner. So I said, your career is going to be double the length as a pro if we take an additional 2 to 3 years to get there. Person wasn't patient. We ended up splitting. Person's still not pro, by the way. But I won't take part in that. And we have to be aware that pushing harder, faster is bad. Body has to adjust. The body has to adapt. The speed at which you're growing will affect your body. And the things that you have to do to grow that fast will affect your body. Years ago, I used to bulk up clients, and I used to be really known for my off season with my guys, even guys who couldn't grow with other coaches or never put on much mass or were skinny fat and struggled. I was really known for slapping mass on people. But the fact of the matter is, I probably didn't do their health any favors either. And it wasn't just the drugs. I mean, I've put people on 2 grams, 2.5 grams. I think that's the highest I've had anybody ever. But it was also the food and the composition. I let them get fat. I let them get very, very heavy. I let them hold a ton of water and for long periods of time. And that's how I put the mass on them. Because yes, you will grow faster with that type of calorie surplus. You will get stronger holding more water with more intracellular leverage. It's not just extracellular, it's intracellular as well. So you will get stronger holding water. You will be a monster. You will be thicker. You will expand your muscle bellies. You will grow faster. Getting big, fat, bloated, holding water. Yes, you will grow faster. But guess what else happens? You fuck up your A1C. And this is a marker everybody needs to learn. Your A1C is an average of where your blood glucose levels have sat over a 2 to 3 month period. And a high A1C will tell you how sensitive you are and how sensitive you are not. Now, when my guys were getting bigger and they would start to stall, I just give them more insulin and they get bigger again. because what I did was I made up for the lack of insulin sensitivity from already being that big and holding that much body fat. So yes, there's a lot of coaches out there. There's a ton of coaches that probably the most well-known coaches get their people like that because they have a drug for a drug for a drug. Oh, you have this problem, let's fix it with this drug, but this drug just caused that problem, so let's throw a drug in to fix that problem, instead of fixing the body's response, instead of taking a step back. Almost no coaches do that because you know what? It's not great for business. You're not slapping 30 pounds on people in a year. You know, you're not getting them fucking bone fucking dry by taking 6 diazides, you know? So it doesn't pay to go light. But me personally, I don't care. I'd rather make less money and sleep good at night. Some of these people, I guess, have no conscience, don't really give a fuck, or they blame it on the athlete because, hey, they were willing to do it. Takes two to tango. You're part of it. You're the one instructing them and telling them what to do. So I blame the coach too. But the fact of the matter is, we can do this safely. So let's get into that. How can we do this safely? We can do this safely by staying leaner off season, by not stressing your digestive tract, by lowering the doses, by constantly getting your blood work, monitoring the markers that matter. I'll do another video on blood work, but there are specific markers that people don't check or don't know how to read or don't know which ones relate to what. They think it's as simple as running through the panel and I'm in range, so hey, all's good. Or this one's out of range, so let's fix that. Well, one out of range can cause another out of range, can cause another out of range, and a cascade of problems, and then all of a sudden you have big problems. So people don't realize what blood work represents. They're sitting there reading numbers and think that that's how you do it. And they're missing a lot of markers. A lot of you guys don't get your A1C. That should be the biggest one you guys are getting. If you start creeping into 5.4, 5.5, you're getting into pre-diabetic. That's fucking awful because high blood glucose levels eventually will lead to neuropathy. And neuropathy does what? Neuropathy is basically going to cause degeneration of all of your internal organs. Kidneys tend to go first. So if we're looking at kidney damage, we can really take a look at blood glucose elevated for long periods of time. We don't want that. I got a lot of shit because I started having people frequently monitor their blood glucose and check and see where they are before meals and see where they are waking up. And then you got all kinds of people, including people that have passed, giving me shit. Oh, that's not important. You're overthinking. Am I? I'd rather monitor and be safe. If you're too lazy to do these things, something that takes you 20 seconds, then maybe you're not in the right mindset to do this. So you need to make sure you're eating foods that don't upset you, that don't inflame you, that don't cause issues. A major thing is digestion that people don't pay attention to. You are not what you eat. You are what you digest, process, and absorb. John Meadows said that. And it's absolutely true. If you're eating foods that are causing gut inflammation, well, inflammation becomes systemic and you start getting inflammation throughout your body. But like I said, the majority of your immune system is in your GI tract. You start breaking down your GI tract and causing damage and ulcers and things like that. You're not absorbing your food. You're compromising your immune system and you're compromising your ability to grow pretty much. But not only that, your gut controls your moods. You want to know why you're always depressed? You want to know why you're always low motivation? You want to know why your anxiety is through the roof? Because your gut's fucked up. Because you're eating a lot of shit. Because you're eating a lot of sugar. You're eating a lot of shitty fats. You're eating a lot of foods that don't agree with you. Just because a coach tells you to eat something and it's considered a clean food doesn't mean it agrees with you. Egg whites don't agree with a lot of people. People don't care. Broccoli fucks a lot of people up. Oh, but I like the way it tastes. It doesn't always work the way you want it to work. It works the way it does work. So you have to accept and face reality and basically do the right things. And hopefully you have the right guidance to take you in that direction. There are great coaches out there. There's a lot of phenomenal coaches out there, but they're usually not the ones with the biggest names. And they don't have the biggest names because they don't destroy people's health, so they don't get the notoriety, But you can still become a very successful pro. You can still have a phenomenal physique if you take it slower, if you're smarter. But guess what? You'll hold that peak a lot longer. I would rather look my best for 10 years than gun it to the top at 25, look great for 2, and then fall apart. What's that going to do for your mental as well? Because that's your whole identity right there. and you were obviously willing to risk it to get to that point, and now you've lost it. Where do you go with your life? So that can cause terrible, terrible depression, and you don't want that. So enjoy the journey. Take it slow. Take your breaks. People don't know this about me. My best friends do know this about me. I have taken a ton of breaks. And people used to say to me, I remember showing up at a show one day, and my friend Ant was working a booth, and he looks at me and goes, bro, how could you show up here looking like that? Because I don't care. I think I was like 200 pounds or 195 pounds, skinny as shit, because I've taken a whole bunch of 6-month breaks. I've taken 5 9-month breaks in my 20 years where I just didn't go to the gym. I didn't lift. I might have ate 50, 60 grams of protein a day. I just didn't care. I gave myself a complete fucking break. Now, that is not the road to going pro. That is not what you want to do to be pro, but it was never that important to me. Sometimes I just wanted to focus on other things in life, and I wanted to give my body a break. And I'm glad that I did, now seeing the current state that everybody is in, because even back then, I didn't know it's as serious as it is now. So hopefully you guys learned something from this. If there's things I didn't cover, you can absolutely drop some questions in the comments. I will answer them extensively on this specific video because it is that important. And hopefully I can help some of you guys out. If there's other topics related to this that you want to hear about, drop it in the comments as well. And I'll be sure to cover it. But I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of the way to do this right and what's causing all of these problems. So don't just blame the PEDs. It's the rate at which people grow, the weight that they're carrying, and the fact that they're not addressing or being preemptive with their health. If you're not taking health supplements, you are crazy. I told you guys the reason I signed with HD was specifically their wellness line, because the design of the supplements were so great. And I saw all of the reports. Every single ingredient is the highest quality that can possibly be attained. No money spared. Even their profit margins are not as big as some other companies, simply because they'd rather put the quality in and make sure they do this right. So that company's integrity will never crack, but you need to be taking a kidney supplement if you're bodybuilding, for sure, every day, all year long. You need to be taking a liver supplement. You have to be taking a multivitamin. You have to be focusing on your EFAs, specifically your omega-3s, simply because they're anti-inflammatory. Inflammation is a major marker that leads to heart attacks, that leads to health problems. Inflammation causes cancer. So you need to be very, very aware of what causes inflammation. If you're looking at regular beef versus grass-fed beef, they're on the opposite ends of the spectrum. They're not even close. It's not the same food. One fucking destroys you, and the other one is good for you. Salmon is phenomenal. Free-range eggs, things like that. Make sure you're getting your healthy fats in, and learn how to eat properly. But most likely, hire an educated coach that knows how to guide you through this. I'll try to put out as much useful information as I can, but there's a lot of coaches out there that can help you. So again, being a little redundant, drop your comments and questions in the comments. I promise I will answer them, and I'll try to cover the topics you like. Hope this helped. I know this is long, so if you're still listening, thank you. It means you care about your health, and good luck on your journey.